Hi everybody. Have a little bit of time to give you some more pointers on driving in general. This doesn't necessarily relate to truck driving. This is any driving. I thought I'd talk about merging, and as some of you may know, especially people who drive regularly, I don't think most people get the concept of proper merging. As you're coming onto the interstate, especially, as you're turning onto the ramp, you should be looking over your shoulder, in your mirror, or all the way over your shoulder, checking the traffic that's coming that you're getting ready to merge into, and already pick out your spot, and either accelerate or decelerate to time out a good time to work your way into traffic. Many people don't. Too many people have their phone on their left ear. They don't even know that they're getting to the interstate until they're run out of lane, and that's where I'm sitting. 55, 60 miles an hour, holding my lane, because especially in a semi, the safest lane for you to be in is the lane you're already in. The more lane changes you make, the more risk you take in getting into an accident, especially in heavy traffic. So that's first thing, and obviously it's more difficult into heavy construction traffic like I just arrived in, northbound on 37 at Bloomington, because everybody's spot and everybody's desire to get home is way more important than you getting home, or in my case, back to the warehouse to load another load, to continue working. Most of these people at 5:46 in the evening, they're done for the day and they're on their way home. I won't be done till probably 11 or 12 tonight, as I have another load to take to Lafayette still today. So, be nice to each other. Occasionally, you have to force niceness. Obviously, in a semi, everybody hates semis, and but I try to be nice and always signal, and I turn on my signal, and I'll let 6 or 7 cars go by and blow me off, and not let that pesky semi get in front of them in their precious lane. But after that, I'm bringing the nose in, and I'm going to suggest strongly that you choose to be nice at this time. Does that make me a jerk? I don't know, maybe. But some people just need a little more suggestion than others. It's not everyone, obviously. But, for instance, about a month or so ago, I was in Louisville, and it was just rush hour traffic. And I came up on the lane, and I came up off the Bardstown Road onto 265, heading back to 65. And I kindly, waited for someone to let me in and got into the right lane of regular flow traffic. But then that opens up the remainder of that on-ramp onto the traffic, right? But we're bumper to bumper at this point, we're barely creeping. But as I'm sure you know, many people will run up that right lane because they're faster and need to get home more than you, and they're gonna work their way up there and force their way in all the way up at the point where the lane completely expires. Or they just think, I'm super slow because I'm in a semi, so I'm going to create a gap sooner or later, and they can work their way in there, but they don't have to wait for me. Little do they know, at this point of the day, I'm empty, and I can accelerate almost as fast as they can, especially bumper-to-bumper traffic. So, this particular special someone, I could see flying up the empty lane in my mirror. Well, sometimes I don't feel as kind as maybe I should be, as everyone else already got in line, and they're waiting their turn. Why does this yahoo need to be up in front of everyone else, right? And so I stayed on the bumper of the car in front of me until their lane ran out, and they're still out there. And unfortunately, as often happens, my kindness won out my bitterness. And I tapped the brake just enough to open a gap where they could slide in, which they did. And then they bent back over the seat, between the two seats, all the way into the back seat as far as their arm could reach, to make sure that I saw them flip me off. And they remained in that position for over a mile to make sure that I understood that I was number one in their book, which of course made no sense to me because I let them in. Yes, I ran them as far as I could before I let them in, but I didn't have to let them in there. But I did. I don't know, is that... I still felt like I let them in. I did let them in, but they apparently still felt the need to flip me off. But my lane moved before their lane, and so I got up next to them, and they're still yelling stuff at me, so I blew them a kiss. That didn't go over so well either. But anyway, if I hope you've learned a little about merging etiquette in this brilliantly done instructional video. Always pick your spot in advance, as far in advance as you can. Accelerate or decelerate to pick your spot so that the traffic can keep flowing as easily as possible and nobody's mad. We all want to get home, and it's easier for us to all get home with less stress if you do it this way. So that's all I have for you this time, and I'll think of something else and get back with you soon. Thanks.